truth be told, I work with a network of incredibly intelligent individuals that help bring this reality to life. So my goals for today are not for this to be a Rogers infomercial. What I'd really like to focus on is identifying really what we've seen from an evolution perspective in the smart city space over the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, and just why now in particular is an ideal time to start embracing these technologies and leveraging these to drive better outcomes for citizens. I wanted to obviously we don't have time to talk about the whole portfolio and all of the potential use cases, but I'm going to focus in specifically on a project that we did in collaboration with UBC and the potential outcomes that it can drive for municipalities across the country. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the success factors and barriers with smart city adoption. So it feels from my perspective that I've had many of the same conversations for the last 10 years. I think that there's been a growing desire to embrace what smart city can be, and there's been a ton of potential around the different solutions and outcomes that it can deliver. Having said that, like I tend to focus less on the technology side of it because it's very easy to get caught up in the newest, latest, greatest thing. And truthfully, every day I'm bombarded with discussions around AI. And while it plays an important role, what is most important is the specific, deliverables to those stakeholders. How are we using technology as a way to drive operational efficiency? How are we using it to reduce risk? How are we using it to drive citizen engagement? And why is this so important at this point in time? So when we think about, a smart city, obviously it functions very much the way a Rogers would, a very large, complex organization with many different silos, distributed decision making. And so as a result, even when there's a clear use case in front of us, sometimes it's very difficult in order to get some of these initiatives off the ground. But why is it more important now than ever in order to be successful at some of these? I would say, from a population perspective, by 2050, we're expecting 70% of the global population to live in urban environments. That is going to create constraints around infrastructure, around transportation within those cities. And truthfully, we can't support it the way we have been in the past. So how are we going to use technology in a way to deliver, better outcomes for that environment? Today, as I mentioned, I'm going to focus specifically around the traffic management piece and the opportunity to apply specific technologies through partnerships that we've developed and how it is, reducing wait times at intersections, how it's reducing the number of fatalities that are happening, frankly, across our roadways. So each year in Canada, we have roughly 155,000 injuries with 10,000 fatalities. It costs Canada an estimated 16 to 18 billion dollars. So a very complex challenge to solve, and technology has been around for a long time. So why haven't we been more pervasive in deploying some technology? I think the one thing that I have visibility into my role is each day, each week, each month, innovation is happening, and it's very difficult to understand when to dip your toe into the pool and when to, in fact, move from POC to a full deployment of a solution. And there are so many vendors and so many opportunities out there for individuals that want to work with you because of your size and scale. So how do you, make decisions around that? I would say first and foremost, from my perspective, it starts with understanding what you're hoping to accomplish. And where things traditionally go sideways, like in my interactions, both with public and private organizations, is we have lofty goals that haven't really been defined. And we haven't necessarily thought about what ancillary impacts can this technology make, something like a traffic management system. How can that be utilized by other departments? How do we use that in a way to drive some other outcomes that perhaps we hadn't thought of? So what's the opportunity with IoT? As I said, when we start with understanding the problem that we're hoping to solve, then it becomes a lot clearer which technology and which technology partner is the right sort of partner to embrace. So typically, it's really these 6 initiatives that people are focused on as it relates to the embracing of IoT technology. So monitoring performance. So that could be a traffic intersection. It could be a water main system underneath the city. It could be any number of things, performance of the buses. How do we use it as a means to power that sustainable growth? How do we automate for efficiency? I don't think that anybody's under the expectation that the tax base is just going to continue to grow. I don't think anybody on the call from a city struggles with having too much money. So how do we do more with the funds that we do have available, and how can we use emerging technology as a tool to do that? And most of the projects that I'm involved in, this is the primary directive. I need to operate in a much more efficient way because I am limited from a resource perspective. And then I think probably most importantly, it's accelerating the insight to data-driven decision making. Every organization I work with, without fail, is trying to become data-driven in the way that they operate. We have access to data. That's never been the challenge. I think the challenge has been making meaningful, or gathering meaningful insights from that data and then triggering automation based on that. So looking at that entire ecosystem, what data silos do I have today, or data lakes, and how do I leverage that data? And is there a common sort of aggregation platform that will help to transition it to actionable insight? And I think really the strength of a Rogers is that's what we do. Obviously, connectivity, in whatever form, whether it's wireline, wireless, or so on, it is the foundation for any transformation that any organization wants to go on. Without connectivity, none of this works. So providing that underlying robust connectivity at a reasonable price point, obviously, is critical. Once we've established that connectivity and we're collecting those different data sets, whether it's traditional or something like a LoRaWAN system, how do we ingest it in a meaningful way? How do we use it to tell us how we should move next? So really, technology is driving innovation. As I said, I promised this wasn't going to be an infomercial, but why we're in the space and why we believe that we can be of assistance to clients is because we have that understanding of the industry, certainly from a network side, but also through our research partnerships that I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. Trusted solutions. So we're vetting and validating these solutions before we bring them out to our customers, and then knowing that it will be supported afterwards. So when I talk about the partnerships, and I've heard it referenced a couple of times through the day, higher education facilities are hotbeds of innovation. And frankly, we're looking to support those initiatives that are happening within our partnerships. The sharpest people I know are those that are coming out of school right now, just with the frame of reference that they have and growing up with this technological environment. So we're always looking for research opportunities to further and solve problems for the industry that you're in. The four things when we think about a smart cities ecosystem that are typically focused on are around quality of living, infrastructure, certainly ESG and sustainability, and e-mobility in all of its various forms. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, an ideal circumstance is when you can adopt a solution in one of those pillars that satisfies some elements of the other. So today, what I wanted to do, I have a short video that's going to talk about a collaboration we did with UBC around smart traffic management. And that smart traffic management system leverages all of the emerging technology, so IoT, AI, and so on, to understand how people are interacting with that environment. So once again, bringing together all of those different data sets to drive understandings. From the perspective of the technology, you heard what we were looking to solve for. Essentially, we installed across 5 different intersections this smart traffic solution. And the results that we saw in over the last 6 months have been astounding. So across a full year, we expect to save roughly 2,789 days worth of pedestrian slowdown and roughly 4,000 sort of vehicle delays based on the optimization of the traffic. Later on in the video, it talks about if we were to extrapolate this and put it in the city of Vancouver, the anticipated economic benefit to the city would be in the neighborhood of $65 million. So significant, but it's not just the economic benefit. It also would drive satisfaction with those that are commuting into the city. So I will make sure that everyone gets a copy of the video to watch afterwards, but I would say, we just want to become an active part of this ecosystem. So I think we have some unique knowledge in terms of how we put together and deliver smart city solutions. We've built out our network of partnerships. The barriers traditionally, procurement is obviously a challenge in the way that it's structured. So I would say what you can do to assist with that is really just be open and honest about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Bring in multiple stakeholders for the discussion. And I'm not saying that Roger should always be the partner, but work with partners that you trust to solve the issues that you're looking to solve for.